Yes, team, welcome to today's training. So if you are currently struggling with alcohol and it's maybe holding you back, and you're either brutally open and honest about that, or you're not really being as honest and open about that as you should be, either way, this is probably going to sting a bit. So buckle in, don't get triggered. Everything I'm about to say is something that I've been through myself. And these 6 brutal truths about alcohol and why it's holding you back might just change your life. Now, first of all, this isn't a lecture. It's not about saying you should be teetotal. I'm certainly not. I massively enjoyed 3 bottles of Prosecco when I was on holiday. Even though I was with Nat, who didn't have any Prosecco and didn't drink at all. So again, there's a story there, right? I didn't have to not drink or feel uncomfortable drinking because she wasn't. And she also didn't drink or feel uncomfortable because I was and she wasn't. So that's almost a great place to start. But, this one isn't about calories. It isn't about macros. Very often alcohol isn't the actual problem when we're gaining weight. It's what alcohol causes. So it's the overeating food, it's the low mood, it's the low sleep, and then it's not going to the gym. Again, think about 2 situations here to get your brain ticking before I start the training. So think of, I said this before, didn't I? I don't know, I always go back to them, but think of all the judges on X Factor, right? Think of Alicia, think of Simon Cowell, how old is he now? Think about Amanda Holden, and all of the other judges. Do you not think they have active social calendars? And let's just take a celebrity who's in phenomenal shape. They're not all teetotal. They have social calendars way above what ours are. They probably have commitments 3-4 times a week, yet they're all in incredible shape, and they probably drink at most of them. So what's the difference? One is what they make it mean. So they might have a drink, but they don't make the social occasion about getting smashed. In fact, I would put forward, even people like dancers that work at Ocean Beach in Ibiza and Marbella and all those things, again, most of them have phenomenal bodies. Most of them have a few drinks at each event. Okay, but they don't make every social occasion about seeing how smashed they can get and then eating their own body weight in junk food for 3 days to feel better, and then skipping the gym for 3 days because they feel low energy. So very often it's what you make the event mean and what you make your relationship with alcohol mean, which I'm going to come on to it. Now, for anyone watching this as well, I just want you to know this isn't directed at extreme alcoholism or people are addicted. This is your general high performer who's probably in denial about how much alcohol is effectively affecting their life. And the reality is it's holding so many people back. It's holding many of you back within this group, and a lot of you are borderline in denial about it, or I have to literally shoehorn it out of you after you've talked about how unmotivated you're feeling for 4 weeks to find out that actually you've been on the piss 4 weekends on the trot, and then you're wondering why you don't have motivation, why you struggle in low mood. It's alcohol, guys. You have to be realistic about this. Listen to these words. Listen to these 4 words and take them away. Alcohol is a depressant. The same as drugs, right? It elevates your dopamine and then your body struggles to produce it naturally. It makes you feel happy and carefree, and then afterwards you feel stressed and anxious. So the 2 angles here that I want you to take away. One is, as I said, I'm not saying don't drink ever, because I do, so that would be very hypocritical. But also have a real reflection on what you make events mean. Like, you can go to any event and have a couple of drinks and still have a good time. If you're a person that can't just have a couple of drinks, then you need to realize that that's the problem. Now, that's one thing that I want you to take away. So it's the meaning that you give to alcohol. Are you doing it to escape? Are you doing it because of any of the problems that we're going to come on to? Is it a social anxiety crutch? And the second thing is, generally, if we're now relating alcohol to your body, whether you're fat or thin, so to speak, or your body transformation results, I want you to understand that alcohol is, unless it's ridiculously excessive, it's not normally the alcohol that's the problem. Okay, it's the fact that you eat 2,000 or 3,000 calories too much each time you drink, and then you don't really feel like training, so you either skip it or you go half-assed because of the effect of the alcohol, and then dehydration, so you're not hydrated, you don't sleep properly, so you're tired, then your mood's low, then eventually, after a heavy weekend, you'll just sack it off and send me a message saying it's not for you and you don't have the headspace, because essentially you've drank that many weekends on the bonds that your motivation is zero. Again, motivation wasn't the problem, it's the low mood that the alcohol created. So, as I said, this isn't a lecture. I'm not here telling that you have to be teetotal or that you're an alcoholic. So those two are the extreme ends. Who I'm talking to here is you and I. High functioning, high performance people who generally don't think that alcohol's a problem, but also often wonder why they feel stuck, they feel inconsistent, and they feel low on energy. So I'm gonna go back and actually mark yourself ready to watch the training that I did on the victim or the mindset, the mindset of a victim or a warrior, because this will tie exactly into what I'm about to say now. So I had a message from a client last week. You know, I like to make these real. And if you're that client listening, I'm not going to say who you are, but you'll know exactly who you are. So I did this last week with the limiting beliefs, and I'm going to try and do it each week. So really, that person is getting a private hours coaching on something that's affecting them. So it sums it up perfectly. I chased him for his check-in, and the reply that he came back with was, I haven't checked in because there's nothing to report, back to square one, I haven't done any work. Like, even though he's not blaming anyone, that's a victim mindset. That's, well, I haven't done anything, I ain't gone anywhere, so, like, what's the fucking point? What's the point in checking in? What's the point in life? I've messed up again. And I actually sent him a message in that similar language and said, am I right? Because that's what you sound like. So, yeah. He said, yeah, complete ownership, radical responsibility, as I discussed on the Warrior versus Mindset podcast. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's exactly the mindset I'm in. Like, I'm not doing anything about it. So his translation really was, the reason why I haven't checked in is because for the last 4 weeks, after I lost momentum, after holiday, I've been sat on my arse, eating shit, drinking every weekend and feeling sorry for myself. And he admitted that he'd fallen into throwing himself a pity party, hadn't checked in, hadn't asked for help until I squeezed him and squeezed him and squeezed him. And then he went, yeah, and he's fessed up about it. First of all, he could have fessed up after week 1 and saved himself 3 weeks of pain. So if you are that person, the same as him, most of us in this group are struggling with the same things, then take that as the lesson. But after owning it, understand it. So I've lost motivation. No, he hadn't lost motivation. He just boozed 4 weeks on the trot. And if you booze for 4 weeks on the trot, your energy is going to be lower. Your mood's going to be lower. You're going to eat sugar to feel better. You're not going to want to train. You're going to gain body fat. You're not going to sleep well. You're going to be dehydrated. Like, one of the biggest, and I'm going to come on to a lot of them, one of the biggest myths in the world is alcohol makes me sleep better. Alcohol takes the edge off. Alcohol helps me decompress. No, it doesn't. It blocks you out initially from whatever stress you're struggling and not dealing with. And then you have a crap night's sleep because you get up for 3 wees, you're dehydrated, you feel like crap in the morning, and then you start the day fighting fires and reactive. Sound familiar? Thought so. So he hadn't lost motivation, he got distracted, he'd forgotten what his goal was, he had no exciting reason to stay on track, he'd forgotten about his mission, his purpose and what he wanted, so he just defaulted back to his old habits. I'll just drink beer all weekend, sometimes even in the middle of the week, to feel better about the work that I'm not doing, and I'll keep escaping, I'll keep boozing at the weekend, I'll keep boozing midweek, I'll keep making bad decisions, until it gets to that horrible point again where you have to stop because you realise life's going backwards, you're not training, you're gaining weight, you're eating shit, you're going nowhere, and you don't have integrity because you're not doing what you said you would. So this isn't just this client, by the way. This is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people every single week. It's easier to just have a beer in the week on a Tuesday and a Wednesday and a Thursday when you're working away than go for a run. It's easy to have some beers on Friday, Saturday, Sunday so you can switch off than think, actually, I can spend an extra 3 days working on my goals. Okay, so we're going to come on to these reasons and why this happens. 6 brutal truths. So you don't drink most of the time because you love alcohol. Yeah, a nice cold beer in the sun is amazing sometimes. A couple of glasses of champagne with friends, all over that. I absolutely love it. Cold beer on the pitch after winning a rugby game, amazing. But that's not the same as when you get in from work. Like, again, I had a female client. No, I have. She said to me these honest words: I have to have a glass of wine as soon as I get in from work. This is a mother, by the way. 5 o'clock, second she gets in from work, has a glass. Why do you need that? Just to decompress, just to switch off, just to de-stress. No, the reason why she's so stressed every day is because she drinks a glass of wine after work. And then it knocks her sleep, and then it knocks her energy, and then it costs her money, so she has to earn more. Like, people drink to escape most of the time. Well, that might be escaping stress, or it might just be escaping boredom. Many people, if I took alcohol completely out of your life at the weekend, you wouldn't know what the fuck to do. So you have to create that. Create a life that you don't need to escape from. Plan your weekend so you're not bored. As I said, people don't lose motivation, they just get bored. They don't lose motivation, they get distracted. So if you were, escape boredom, or sometimes escape how they feel about their body, think how ludicrous that is. Oh, I hate the way I look, so I'm going to get pissed at this social to make myself feel better. I hate my life, so I'm going to get pissed. And I'd almost fallen into this a few weeks ago, as I said to you guys. Haven't touched anything really this year. Like the few glasses of Prosecco in Santorini, which I see is different because I was away, I wasn't working, and I had quite a few glasses of champagne at Mark and Sarah's wedding. So 2 real special occasions. Outside of that, not been to any meaningless parties, not had any alcohol at all for this whole year. And that's quite a long time in most people's lives, normal people's lives. So what are we in? July. So it's 7 months, isn't it? 7 months, I haven't had what I would call a party. And I started telling myself a little story. I think I'm due a blowout. I think I need a blowout. And this is the story that we tell ourselves. Like, how is that going to make it better? Oh, I'm struggling a bit with my weight. Maybe I need a blowout. I'm not really loving my career. Maybe I need a blowout. I'm struggling in my relationship. We're not really getting on at the weekend. Maybe I need a blowout. Business income's down this month. Maybe I need a blowout. That's the story we tell ourselves. What we're saying is maybe I need an escape that will take me away from dealing the problems that deep down I know I need to deal with if I want to move forward. So this wouldn't ever happen if you were building a life that was so exciting that you didn't want to escape from it? I changed my view on that question. So a lot of people would say to me, why don't you drink, Leo? Or why don't you drink very often? Or how did you stop? And when people used to say, how did I stop? It's now a very different reason to why don't I drink. So why did I stop? One, because it was massively negatively affecting my life. How did I stop? I created a life that I didn't need to escape from. And why do I not drink now? One simple reason, because it fucking slows me down. I'm 44 years old. I have big fucking goals. House goals, car goals, body goals, fitness goals, holiday goals, growth goals, business goals. I have more goals than most people have had hot dinners. And if I start boozing on a weekend, or maybe going back to once a month, or I'll just have a couple of beers in the week, it's not a lot really, is it? It will slow me down. My sleep won't be as good, my energy will be lower, my mindset will be less. So that's why. So I stopped because I created a life that I didn't need to escape from, and it was making me unhappy. The reason why I managed to go in is I've realised that alcohol slows me down, and I don't want to go slow. I want to go quicker. As I said, I'm 44 years old. I don't want to be where I am when I'm 54, where I am when I'm 44. And the reality is most people will be, because they'll keep having a couple of beers every weekend to take the edge off, which we're actually going to go deep into what exactly that edge is, because that's a story. So just for clarity, if you are doing this, take ownership. Take radical responsibility, as I said in the previous podcast. Don't beat yourself up about it, but also don't hide away from it. One thing, if alcohol's negatively affecting your life, one, don't hold away from it. Two, before I get onto the 6 points, please don't ever do things like drinking at barbecues or drinking at weddings because you feel uncomfortable not doing so. Be your own person. Like, it's crazy. Alcohol's the only drug. It's the most damaging of every single drug there is. But one, you can just go and freely buy it. Two, you can drink it all week after work. Some people drink it at work, and nobody at work has any problems if you do it every night. Can you imagine the same? How would your boss feel if you did cocaine every night? I don't think you'd have a job. But bottle of wine every night, no problem. In fact, I'll come and join you for one. It's the most dangerous of all the drugs, but it's readily accepted, and two, sometimes you're made to feel weird for not having it or not wanting it. So also take a leaf out of Nat's book. She didn't feel pressured, and I certainly didn't make her, to drink Prosecco in Santorini just because I was. She said, no, I'm good. It just doesn't agree with my stomach. Cool, no problem. So don't be that person that's going back into the victim mindset. I know, but we just have barbecues every weekend and everyone's having a drink. You're not everyone. Let them have a drink. If you don't want one because you know it's holding your life back and you want a different life, have the fucking balls / ovaries to be your own person, to be authentic. But if you are struggling, I get it. Because drinking's normalised. That's the worst thing. It's accepted. Pub culture. It's part of culture. Like I've said all the time, like this was actually a drug situation when a person offered me some cocaine in the dressing room of Eden in Ibiza when I supported Sagala on tour. And it's, do you want some of this? And I said, no, I'm all right. Really? What's wrong with you? Exact words. Really? What's wrong with you? That is a person saying, there's something wrong with me for not wanting to take cocaine before I go on stage. 2 reasons. One, I wouldn't do it because it would make me anxious. 2, it's not fucking professional because I'm being paid to do a job. And 3, it fucks my mental health. So that was the one I actually said. When he said, why, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm not doing it anymore because one, it makes me more anxious. And two, it absolutely destroys my mental health. I feel like shit for days. I always regret it. I'm full of shame. And it makes me sad and it makes me depressed. Do you have any more questions for me about why I'm not sniffing cocaine tonight? Silence. So again, be strong enough to do that. Like other times, other Lee has just gone, yeah, because I wanted to fit in. And even process whether I wanted to have the line or not have the line. I just had the line because I wanted to fit in. Okay, and I'm like, oh, now shit, oh, now I feel anxious. Oh, I'm about to go on stage and my heart's going fucking 4,500 beats per minute and I've got 3,000 people looking at me and all I want to do is hide under this fucking deck stand. So I've seen both sides, again, in case that's coming across preachy. So, but it's accepted. Like, whether it's booze or drugs, like, I've paid multiple DJs in excess of £20,000 for 2 hours work, and the first thing they asked for when they met me was where could I get them some fucking cocaine so they could sniff it whilst I was paying them to work. That's how fucking absurd culture's got. Just let that sink in for a minute. And then that's the same as whether it's that, or it's you at the barbecue, or it's you at the social event. It's become so accepted and so normalized that you're actually made to feel like a weirdo for not doing it, or it's done to such a destructive level that it's accepted within any form of working environment. It's crackers, right, when you think about it. So, but being overweight, being anxious, being skint, and being exhausted is also normalized. Is also accepted. In fact, it's more readily accepted than someone being in great shape. You don't see someone put a post on about, people will readily talk about how overweight they are, how skint they are, how exhausted, how life is just the way it is, even when they're talking about themselves, but they won't talk about, I'm in incredible shape, I'm making loads of money, I'm doing great. We can't talk about that because that's like positive. That means you're egotistical. That means you love yourself. So just be aware of, just because other people have normalized something, that doesn't mean how you have to normalize it too, because you're not normal, and that's why you're part of this program. So that was an intro, wasn't it? Let's talk about the 6 brutal truths of alcohol. So if there's any that you're going to take away number 1. In 20 solid years of coaching, I have never coached a single client whose life ever got worse by stopping drinking. I have never coached a client whose life didn't get better the second they stopped drinking. Guys, every area improves. Energy, clarity, mood, confidence, sex. If you think that drunken sex you're having is good, trust me, it's not really as good as you think it is until you have drunken sex with someone who's sober. Business performance, relationships, everything improves. And this idea that you need alcohol for balance or enjoyment is the biggest lie that you have ever been sold. And you might also have dropped into thinking it's cool and it's not affecting you and you're a warrior and you're still working 18 hours a day and you're still in great shape, exactly as I had. So I've always been really honest about this. We're going back to 2012. Regularly worked 60, 70, 80 hours at the club. Okay. I was running Plug in Sheffield. I also had my DJ career as well, and also had a couple of sideline businesses. So I was rarely in the office any later than 10 a.m. in the morning. I rarely left before 7 or 8 o'clock at night, came home for a couple of hours, often trained, had some food, was rarely back at the club much later than 10 o'clock, went right through till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, usually had quite a few beers, and then repeated that pretty much Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, I just after partied in a kitchen or died. But I was performing at work. You know, running a business with 100 plus employees, turning over 2, 3, 4 million pounds a year. I wasn't like some loser who was just sat on a couch, rocking up to work drunk every day and not working hard, not achieving goals. I was DJing all over the world. I was making music. I was running my own events. Really, if you looked from the outwards in, I was on fire. And I used to wear that. I'm like relentless. I'm a workhorse. And I wore that like a badge of honor. And then I broke my neck. And as a result of that, I was forced to have quite a few weeks off of alcohol. And then when I started rebuilding, obviously after the situation and becoming really, really depressed, like I was like, right, I'm gonna do a photo shoot. I'm gonna do a modeling shoot because I've got myself in good shape. I'm gonna go to the next level. I did that shoot in December of that year, I believe, the following year. So pretty much 12 months after breaking my neck. It's not the greatest photo shoot ever, but so I had to stop drinking. And all of a sudden, I realized that I was an extremely high level operator with barely any sleep and lots of alcohol. So then I took alcohol out and I realized within 4 or 5 weeks, I've been achieving all this stuff operating in third gear. Everything went to a new level. Within a year, I ended up quitting clubs, quit the business, launched my PT business, launched my online coaching business, launched my own clubbing event, quadrupled my income in about 6 weeks after leaving, and everything went to the next level and beyond because I've been very, very high level operating whilst on booze. Took the booze out, it was like giving me turbo boosters like Sonic the Hedgehog. So again, you might think it's not a problem for you because you're successful when you're drinking. And if you are that person, trust me, if you're already successful and you're heavily drinking, take the drink out and within 8 weeks, message me and let me know the difference because it's insane. You will find 2, 3, 4 extra gears. Number 2 of the brutal truths is please, please, please stop using alcohol as a crutch for your social anxiety and do the inner work. Again, I've been there. I used to think that I couldn't DJ without having a drink. Probably the time when I thought that I wasn't a great DJ. So I needed it to take the edge off. Okay? I just need a couple of beers to take the edge off. I just need a couple of glasses of wine to take the edge off. Well, what edge? What edge is it that you're looking to take off? Your nervous edge? Your anxious edge? Your low confidence edge? Which one? Because if you can't laugh, you can't dance, you can't be confident, or you can't work without alcohol, that's a personal development issue, not a booze issue. You need to do the inner work and fix those problems, not be using alcohol to mask them. If you can't go to work without having a drink, what the fuck? That needs fixing. If you don't have the confidence to go to a social event without drinking, that needs fixing. If you need a drink to decompress from work at the end of the day, that needs fixing. Whatever edge it is, work on what you need to do to fix the edge, not doing something to take the edge off. Great line, I love this. Probably going to sting a bit, but if you need alcohol not to be boring, guess what? You're boring. Pure and simple. Number 3, alcohol destroys your sleep and recovery. Like, you are not going to build a lot of muscle boozing every weekend. It's going to lower your test levels. It's going to lower your recovery. It's going to lower your muscle protein synthesis. You're going to forget to train sometimes. You're going to forget to take your supplements. You're not going to stick to your diet. It destroys your sleep. It destroys your goals and it destroys your recovery. it doesn't help you relax. It knocks you out, and then it wrecks your sleep quality. This is what I've heard so many people say this. Oh, I just have a better night's sleep when I have a drink. You don't. You just get to sleep quicker because it knocks you out, and then you have a crap night's sleep, and then you're overthinking everything, and then your next day's stressed, and then you're overthinking before bed again. So then you have a drink to knock yourself out and repeat the cycle. Deal with the overthinking. Deal with the thing that's making you feel like you need a drink to go to sleep, and then have a proper night's sleep, hydrated, sleep through like a baby. And again, with mental health, alcohol for me is worse than any drugs, which I'm going to come on to, which is point 4. But drinking and any type of stress, worry, anxiety, or mental health problem is like pouring petrol on a fire, or even water on a fire. No, let's use petrol, but we'll use water for the demonstration. So if there's a roaring fire here, and I've got some petrol, and I pour it all over the fire. Initially, when we have a drink, I feel relaxed. Goes down, doesn't it? And then blows up into the middle of next week. Everything's worse. I tell you what, if you've got fucking problems when you have a drink and fucking do some gear, you've got fucking problems when you come round from it 24 hours later. Only difference is you're going to have to deal with them with a come down and a hangover, and you're going to be more stressed, and you're going to be more reactive, and you're going to be more angry, and you're going to do and say things you regret. Tested that a few 100,000 times just to make sure it's right. Thank me later. Okay? It wrecks your sleep quality and it wrecks your mental health. And if you're already struggling with one of those two things, it's going to compound it and make it worse, because poor sleep equals poor recovery. Poor recovery means more cravings, more anxiety, more stress, more arguments, more bad decision making. And all of that comes from thinking that you're actually going to make things better. Like, tell me a situation that's ever been made better by having a drink. Tell me about the time that you had a blowout because you were stressed and you came back feeling revitalized and ready to go on Monday morning. You know, tell me the deep conversation you had in your relationship on alcohol and it worked out well. It just doesn't happen. So this was a big one for me and I really enjoyed this part. Number 4. You might agree with me, you might not. I think alcohol's worse than any drug. I think it's worse than cocaine. I think it's worse than weed. I would even go as far as to say it's worse than heroin. Now, initially, you'll think, well, what, me having a few drinks in the week is worse than crackhead Dave injecting himself on the streets? Well, maybe not when you frame it like that. But can you imagine if heroin became socially acceptable? There became a culture around it. It was celebrated. You now had shops where you could not just buy it between 11 and 11, you could buy it 24 hours. They put huge discounts on it. 24 wraps for 12 quid. In your supermarket, they put it on the counter to sell to you when you're about to pay. Like, it wouldn't happen, would it? Because it's not acceptable. So why is it acceptable with alcohol when more lives have been ruined by alcohol than will ever be ruined by cocaine or heroin put together? But yet we celebrate it. We look forward to it. And as I said, I'm not saying you have to be teetotal, but what I'm saying is if it's affecting you negatively as it was me, just use all this for food for thought, because I'm not talking to the person who's having a couple of drinks, you know, on an evening on Saturday night and it not affecting anything in their life. So imagine if I handed you a pill now and it made you fat, anxious, it made you eat shit, it made you broke, it made you sluggish, it made you sleep with people you shouldn't sleep with, it made you get into fights, it made you overreact, it made you cheat, it made you regretful. Would you take it every weekend? Would you pop one when you got in from work to take the edge off? Would you take it before going to a wedding? Would you take it around your kids? Of course you wouldn't. Would your boss let you take it? Would your wife let you take it every night? Well, the truth is alcohol does all of those things that I've just said. But if it came in a pill or a powder, you wouldn't dream of taking it. But we glorify alcohol like it's harmless. Like I said, when that guy said on TikTok last week, every problem's not solvable, but every problem is drinkable. People brag about how much they drink, how much money they spend on it. And yet actually deep down, they know it's negatively affecting their lives. Classic male testosterone environment. But they talk like it's harmless and they actually glorified it. Yeah, it's wrecking their body, wrecking their future, wrecking their reputation, wrecking their mental health, wrecking their relationships, wrecking their bank account, probably going to die early because of it. And yet it's glorified. It's crazy, right? So that's the truth that you probably don't want to hear. Truth number 5 is it steals your energy, it steals your focus, and it steals your time. How many days have you lost? How many days do you, I do not want to work this fucker out. How many days do you reckon you've lost in your life to alcohol and drugs? If you're someone who's never taken drugs, how many days of your life do you reckon you've lost to alcohol? I've done this as well. It breaks my fucking heart to say it. How many times have you not showed up to your kids or been miserable all day because you got pissed? How many times did you end up not actually doing what you said you were going to do with them because you got pissed and you felt too much like shit? I've done that too. Breaks my heart to say it. But we take radical responsibility and we take ownership and we move forward. It's not about beating yourself up for what you've done. It's not about shaming yourself. It's about realizing, actually, do you know what? That wasn't fucking good enough. The day for me, before I go on to point 5, day for me with booze, and it was only booze, that really hit me hard was I had a speaking event in Manchester on a Friday at the Etihad Stadium with my then coach Paul Mort, and Russell Kane was there. It was amazing. One of the best days of my life. Russell Kane called me a brick shit house. Made my life. So I then left Manchester at 6 o'clock with Simon, my driver, and we drove all the way to Ministry of Sound in London. That night was one of the final gigs I did, supporting Paul van Dyk. I think I finished playing at about 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd had a fair few tequilas, a bottle, and got in the car, obviously kind of slept in and out a little bit, drove home, got back home about 8 o'clock in the morning from London, and realised I've been out of the house like 28 hours and I'd not really been to sleep apart from little bits of dozing in and off on the car. I remember Nat saying to me, she's like, "Are you off your head?" And I'm like, "No, I swear to God, I'm not." But I had a few drinks and no sleep, and I got to sleep for a couple of hours and then woke up. You know how you do when you've been drinking, because it fucks you sleep. Passed out for a couple of hours, woke up thinking about 10 o'clock, and Logan came in. He was like, "Daddy," and he wanted to do stuff. I couldn't move, my head hurt, I was exhausted, and that day was just a write-off. And there's a reason why that was one of the last gigs that I did, especially long distance ones like that. Because I looked myself in the mirror, I'm like, this isn't good enough, Lee. It's not fucking good enough. It's his weekend too. He wants to play with you. He wants to play Hot Wheels. He wants to set his cars up. He wants you to be excited. And I literally was just gone. Couldn't move. Energy gone. Head gone. Mood gone. Anyway, so again, I like to share things like this just for you to realise that I've been there and I get it. But everything's about ownership and responsibility and moving forward. So one day drinking will cost you 2, 3, 4 days progress. I guarantee you. So if it's once every 6 weeks and you lose 2 or 3 days, it's not too damaging. If it's once every 8 weeks, it's less damaging. Once every 12 weeks, even less damaging. If it's once or twice a week, you just realise why you've gone absolutely fucking nowhere your entire life. Because every time you booze, hangover day, 0 energy. The drinking day, bad decisions, cost you a fortune. You know, and if it was every weekend, twice a week, that's 104 wasted days in a year. What could you build with 104 days? That's a lot of time. That's a lot of hours. That's almost a third of the year. And that's just from a person that drinks once per week. Because you lose a couple of days when you're not okay afterwards. If you think you don't, and I'm talking shit and you're fine, again, you're lying to yourself. So, use that as awareness to think, God, and I'm going to come on to a great challenge here. Where would my life be if I didn't drink for the next 12 weeks? And I'm going to be filming some pretty brutal content, not in the members training for the podcast, because I want to offend everyone, not just you guys. Addiction is one of the most misunderstood subjects on this earth, and I've planned a full podcast on it. Addiction doesn't mean you're injecting yourself with crack or heroin. Addiction doesn't mean you're drinking every single day. You're getting out of bed and chugging on the vodka before you've even cleaned your teeth. You're sniffing cocaine every day, including at work. That's what people think addiction is. They think it's an everyday thing where people end up in rehab. There's not. There's functioning addicts and alcoholics. There's also something called habitual addiction, people and places, like why you can't not drink at the barbecue or why I couldn't not drink at a gig. And then there's also a description of it, which I want you to understand and realise. An addiction is simply something you can't stop doing that's negatively affecting your life. It's not about how regular it is. So if you're looking me straight in the eye now, like I'm looking you straight in the eye, or you're listening to me straight in the ear, if you've not got your camera on, if alcohol is negatively affecting your life and you can't stop for 12 weeks, you're an addict. Pure and simple. It's an addiction. If you can't not do something for 12 weeks, you're addicted to it. If you can't not do it for 4 weeks, you're definitely addicted to it. Yet so many people can't. How many people do you see, oh, dry January went well, on the fucking 7th when they're celebrating their soul-sucking fucking life with a cocktail or a glass of wine because they couldn't even get to the first weekend having openly stated that they were going to do dry January? That's addiction. If you can't go to an event and not drink, you're addicted. You might say, well, I'm choosing to have a drink. Okay, well, let's test it. Go and not have one. So if something is negatively affecting your life, and more so the people that you love and care about in it, prime example, the story with Logan, and you can't choose not to do it, even though you know this is impacting my kids, it's impacting my bank balance, it's impacting my sex life, it's impacting my happiness, yet I can't go 1 week without doing it, you're addicted to it, trust me. Before I come on to that a little bit more and give us the challenge, the final one is, this is why it really isn't your fault. Cultural programming has completely brainwashed you. Underage drinking, fitting in at university, rugby beer circles, barbecue culture, football culture, pub culture, family culture, Christmas Day culture, birthday culture, even fucking death culture. It's a generational habit. Raising a glass to dead people, that shouldn't even be a thing. You should be able to celebrate someone you loved and have truly lost without having to attach it to alcohol. Now, you didn't create that, did you? You didn't create that. You've seen that over years, over years, over years, over years. And again, if it works for you, great. But if it's not, have an awareness of it. You know, there's many things you can do to remember someone you loved and lost. You don't have to attach it to alcohol, but people do. And you only do that because you've seen someone else do it. You didn't create that. You didn't create raising a glass to someone that had lost it. It wasn't your idea. Culture programmed you. The same with pub life. Same with having wine with Sunday dinner. Same with drinking at weddings. Same with having champagne to toast. Cultural programming has led you down this road, and it's all a generational habit. But the reality is most of it doesn't serve the goals of a high-performing adult who wants to thrive. And I'm guessing that's you because you're watching this. So again, I'm not saying go teetotal, but just start to have and assess everything. And as I said, drinking when you've already have mental health problems is literally like pouring petrol on a fire. It's just stupid. And I get it if you are in that really horrible place where you're trying to escape. But again, each time you try it and it doesn't work out, have an awareness and then make a decision. Well, that's how that happened last time. Do I think I should try it again? Did the blowout work? Did I feel better or worse after drinking this weekend? And if the answer's no, change. Because if you keep doing the same things that are making you feel like shit, that's stupidity. It's the equivalent of two bald men fighting over a comb. It's absolutely ridiculous. You've know the detrimental effects. You know it doesn't work for you. You've tried it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times and it had the same outcome every time. Yet you're still doing it. That's when there's a problem. And that's what, if you are that, we're going to try and break it now. So this challenge for you guys, I believe will be absolutely life-changing for everyone who does it. And the challenge is simple. To drop alcohol for 3 months. Can you do it? If not, ask yourself the question, why not? Why can't I do it? Because whether it's to do with alcohol or not, it's what's holding you back in life. Let's make it not about alcohol. Can you go to the gym every day for 12 weeks? Can you journal every day for 12 weeks? Can you go for a morning walk every day for 12 weeks? Can you work on your mindset for 30 minutes every day for 12 weeks? If you can't, your discipline is what's holding you back from everything in your life. It's your discipline to do something consistently, or it's your discipline to say no. Pure and simple. This isn't up for debate or discussion. This is absolutely nailed on. If you can't do it, you have a discipline problem. You have a willpower problem. So here is my promise to you. That's the challenge, but my promise is that all of these things will happen. And those things are, your fitness will improve, your happiness will improve, your mental health will improve, your bank balance will improve, your relationships, intimate, friendship, and with your kids will improve. Your sleep will improve, your skin will improve, your business and career will improve, your anxiety will improve, your confidence will improve. All of those things will improve if you did it. I've just told you the real world story about how I went from highly successful in 3rd gear to fucking 10 times more successful in 5th gear just by stopping drinking. Now, my question to you is, I dare you to prove me wrong. Do it and prove me wrong. I would love for it to happen, and it won't. I would bet my house on this right now. Not one single person watching this is going to give up booze for 12 weeks and say, do you know what, Lee, I regretted that. I didn't have more energy. I wasn't happier. That won't happen. But I dare you to prove me wrong. Because you won't be able to. Because I guarantee you every single area of your life will improve. Will it be uncomfortable? Yeah, of course it fucking will. Anything that's worth achieving is. Will it be difficult? Yeah, of course it is. Anything that's worth achieving is. Will you have to get really good at saying no? Of course you will. That's part of the journey of achieving world-class things. Will you get a lot of pushback from your mates and probably even your partner? Definitely. But guess what? Those mates, what are those things called? Those mates, they're not paying your bills. They're not living in your body. They're not raising your kids. They're not building your business. Most of them won't be there for you on your darkest days. So should you really be listening to them and allowing them to have an influence on your decision? You're going to have to get real good at being you, being authentic and standing up for what you want. But when you do, you'll move forwards. And you'll, like, another client watching this, she's going to piss herself when she said this. So she went home, and I don't think her mother would ever be watching one of my private trainings, but I'll change some of the details just in case she ever is. So she'd gone home, she's had great results, body's looking banging, she doesn't drink, her mother drinks heavily, her business is thriving, everything is great. Her life's actually pretty fucking amazing. She told me a story about the first thing that her mum said to her the last time she went home. And she said, "You've lost far too much weight. You don't look well at all. Come on, you need to get back to mine. I'm going to feed you up. Anyway, shall we stop at the pub for one on the way home?" So she'd gone home having all these positive effects. And the first thing her own mother did was try and get her to eat shit food to feed her up and ply her with alcohol. That's the kind of things you're going to have to fight against. But she was strong and she said, "No, Mum, I don't drink and I don't want that food. I brought my food. I'm cool." So here's your challenge. Some questions to ask yourself as well as that challenge. I want you to comment on YouTube or in the private members group on WhatsApp if you're on Unbreakable Elite, on YouTube if you're not, if you're just in Mindset Mastery. One, are you in? Let me know. Just comment, "Yes, Lee, I'm in. 12 weeks, let's go." But some questions to leave you guys with. So what's your honest relationship with alcohol right now? A lot of people ask me what journaling is, by the way. This is what journaling is. This is your self-journal. So I'm just giving you the prompts. What's your honest relationship with alcohol right now? What excuses or justification do you give yourself to justify drinking? What would 3 alcohol-free months do for your life, body, energy, and fitness? Who might give you pushback or resistance, and how will you handle it? Finally, are you brave enough to take this challenge with me? So our action steps are: commit to the challenge, journal daily, journal your energy, your mood, your sleep, and your productivity, set clear fitness goals to keep yourself focused, create a plan for every single weekend so you don't get bored. And if you need to drink, because without drink you're boring, guess what? You're boring. Have an accountability partner. There's 100+ people in this group. Share your progress in the group for support. Now, this isn't about being perfect. This isn't about never touching alcohol again. And this certainly isn't about giving up if you fail on week 4 and you end up having a drink. Well, 1 drink in 12 weeks is going to be a lot better than 12. So this is about proving to yourself what's possible when you stop numbing yourself and start living, when you start taking action and stop talking about it. So that's my challenge. Give me 3 months. And if nothing improves, then you can send me a polite email saying, "Lee, you're full of crap. I tried all of that and nothing in my life got better." But guess what? If everything else improves, you just found the real problem, you solved it, and you opened yourself up to new levels. Guys, I love you all. Have the best day.